Welcome back to the Weekend Report. I'm Masachaba Mposwa. For nearly 20 years, the Tygerberg Raceway in Kraaifontein brought people together, racers, spectators, families and small businesses. But in July 2020, all that ended when a violent land invasion unfolded. And within a week, the entire raceway was gone, occupied instead by a land invasion. Take a look at this.
Protest action coupled with illegal land occupations have been continuing in the area for weeks.
The attack on the Tygerberg Raceway was probably the most violent.
We've seen in the past couple of years an increase in land invasions, unlawful occupations.
Hordes and hordes of angry protesters.
The land invaders attacked one of our staff members with a petrol bomb.
All spheres of government and especially the ruling parties is involved in this.
Of course, the situation with regards to land, illegal land occupations have been ongoing in areas such as Kraaifontein.
Complete racetrack is gone in a week.
We speak now to commentator and filmmaker Joe Emilio. Joe, good morning. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Thank you very much, Joe. Firstly, you say while South Africans feared expropriation without compensation, the real theft had already started, quietly, legally, and nobody even noticed. Joe, could you take us back there in the interest of our viewers? Could you unpack the events that transpired at the Tygerberg Raceway?
Sure. I encourage anyone who's watching this to go check out the documentary as I go into a deep dive about those questions and why I made that statement. But in brief, basically in 2020, July of 2020, there was commotion, a protest, but also at the same time an attempt of land invasion, which Chris Liebenberg, the former owner of the raceway, tried his best to protect his land, or rather the property. And, police were involved, law enforcement were involved, but the South African Human Rights Commission at some point got involved as well, but actually prevented the city and police from helping Chris to prevent these land invaders from destroying his property, because that's exactly what they did. They came in, you'll see visuals, you saw some of the visuals now, of these land invaders taking apart his land, destroying the property completely, and leveling it to where there was just nothing left. And it is an atrocity. It is totally unfair. He's never been compensated. No one's helped him. And the documentary speaks to that. And that's pretty much what happened in a very short amount of time. Within a week, the raceway was completely gone.
Yeah. Now, Joe, you see it as a land grab, but does this not speak to the housing crisis in the Western Cape?
I'm so happy you bring that up, because it is exactly the housing individuals that were robbed of an opportunity. Because in the documentary, I do explore the fact that the raceway was seen as or marked for housing, actually, and the city was in talks with Chris. Now, Chris in the documentary does mention that he believed the land wasn't fit for housing because of the water level on the land. If you dug so much as 50 meters, you would hit water, which means that it's not suitable for housing. Now, I did reach out to the city of Cape Town to discuss this, and they told me something else. They said, no, we had inspectors go and we believed it was right for housing, and they gave me a whole list of things as to why it would be good for housing. But at the end of the day, what seems to be happening is every time there's land earmarked for housing, because it's not just the raceway, it's other places as well that get earmarked for housing, it seems that there are nefarious individuals that catch wind of this, and then a land invasion happens, which robs those that are waiting on the waiting list. It's a complete injustice. The system is rigged, even against the poor.
Now, the documentary also explores the growing trend of shack farming. Tell us more about this.
So yes, J.P. Smith basically brought that up. I didn't know about it until I interviewed him, where he's met certain individuals who shack farm, which is basically a syndicate that basically produce shacks en masse. When a land invasion is happening, they will then go to individuals and poor individuals, and they will say, okay, we're going to mark off this piece of land, we'll build your shack here, and we'll pay you, the person who's going to live in that shack needs to pay the shack farmer 5,000 Rand or 15,000 Rand or whatever have you, and they must pay it off monthly. JP speaks to this in the documentary, but there's also other syndicates that are in other areas that produce it in mass, where, for example, if there's a land that they want to invade, meters are a bit far away, they have a house where they're basically building these shacks, putting it on a bakkie, taking the bakkie with the shack out to the land where they want to invade, and then plonk the shack on the land, and there you go. You've got a shack ready to be occupied. And there's also visuals in the documentary showing how some of these individuals basically move shacks, panels of shacks at night under the guise of darkness, so that they can't get caught and that city officials can't see them, and erect shacks overnight.